Wedding photographers. What's the weirdest wedding you've attended to? Got hired to shoot a wedding at this lodge-style venue up in the mountains. The couple were a little off from the start. Super friendly, but with this kind of intense performative vibe. The bride wore a black dress, which was cool, and the groom showed up in a velvet burgundy suit with no shoes. That set the tone. The ceremony was outside on a wooden platform overlooking a lake. Gorgeous view, sun shining, but right before it was supposed to start, the bride's sister had a meltdown. Full-on screaming match behind the trees with their mom about how she always ruins everything. I caught bits of it while pretending to clean my lens. Eventually, they both came out like nothing happened, smiling and calm, but their eyes were still puffy. Ceremony kicks off. The officiant was the groom's uncle, who opened with a 10-minute monologue about energy fields and karmic cords. The couple did a hand fasting with a homemade rope that had little trinkets tied to it, keys, feathers, crystals. Then, instead of exchanging vows, they each read a poem they wrote. His was about a dream where she was a deer and he was a tree. Hers was about time travel and soul fragments. The whole thing took over an hour, and people were visibly shifting around in their seats. Reception was inside the lodge. Looked nice at first. String lights, long wooden tables, wildflowers in mason jars. But the DJ no-showed. They had a backup plan, which was someone's iPod from 2012 plugged into a Bluetooth speaker. Volume was too low, songs were on shuffle, and halfway through dinner, it started playing some random comedy podcast. Nobody fixed it for 10 minutes.
The food situation was even stranger. It was a potluck. Guests had been told to bring a dish that represents your soul, which meant there were 13 types of lentil salad, 2 casseroles with no labels, a box of gas station donuts, and one guy who grilled a whole fish in the parking lot. The bride's dad was mad because someone spilled beet juice on his suede jacket, and the groom's best man kept loudly asking when the real food was coming. Things got truly bizarre during the first dance. They chose a song with no words, just wind chimes and slow drums, and did a kind of interpretive movement thing. Lots of spinning and extended eye contact. Everyone clapped politely at the end, but there was this thick silence afterward, like nobody knew what to do next. Later during speeches, the maid of honor got absolutely hammered and told a story about the time the bride shoplifted makeup in high school and got away with it by pretending to cry. The room went dead quiet. Bride looked furious. Groom tried to lighten the mood by saying, "She still uses those skills on me." But that didn't help. Then there was the unity painting. They brought out a huge blank canvas and had guests come up and add a brushstroke. Sounded cute, but most people were too awkward to participate. One kid drew a penis, and the bride saw it and stormed off crying. She came back 30 minutes later with a completely new makeup look, like she'd gone off to cry and redo everything from scratch. Everyone pretended not to notice. I finally packed up around midnight. They tipped well, and the photos actually turned out pretty dreamy despite everything. But that wedding felt less like a celebration and more like performance art. No one seemed to know what was going on half the time, and yet the couple looked genuinely happy, like this was exactly what they wanted. Still the strangest one I've done.